Hey guys, I want to talk to you for a minute about your stance when you're doing any kind of standing barbell curl, dumbbell curl, overhead press, lateral raises. What I see a lot of people do in the gym is take a super wide stance. Some of them because they're used to training for athletics and performance, and they get into this athletic position. Some people take even a wider stance than that. But inevitably, what happens when you take a wide stance like that is it makes it much easier to cheat on movements. What you're doing is you're creating a wider base and making your body more stable. And in athletics, that's a good thing. The typical athletic position is feet a little bit wider than hip width, toes maybe turned out slightly, sometimes straight ahead, depending on the sport. But getting into this slightly crouched position with your feet wider gives you a bigger base to stabilize yourself with. Well, when we're training to build muscle and strength, we want to minimize momentum and put the max amount of force on the muscles when you're training. So as an example, if I'm doing a barbell curl and my feet are out really wide, it's going to make it a lot easier to start swinging the bar and cheat than when my feet are together. If my feet are together and I'm swinging, I'm going to notice it a lot sooner. My body's going to sway a lot easier. I have to make sure that I'm not leaning from one side to the next. But the wider that I go, the easier it gets to start cheating. So when you're doing any kind of a standing movement, dumbbell curls, barbell curls, lat raises, overhead presses, front raises, so on, what I want you to do is take more narrow than hip width stance. Some of you will even be able to stand with your feet together completely. And from here, you're less stable, which means you have to move the bar under a lot greater control than you would if your feet are out wide. So feet hip width apart or more narrow. Kind of the more narrow, the better. I'm usually about 1 foot width apart with my feet when I'm doing any kind of a standing movement. So from here, of course, then just get rolling with the movement. The other thing that I want to mention, since I've got your ear, is when you set up for any of these movements, whether it's a barbell curl, standing overhead press, anything like that, before you move the bar or move the dumbbells, make sure that you reset your upper body. So get the shoulders pulled back, chest out, and you'll notice that in any of the videos that I do in almost any upper body movement, even the lower body movement. First step, get your shoulders pulled back, set and pulled down, chin tucked in, and then begin the movement. The reason is if I'm slouched, I'm reducing the range of motion that I'm going to get from my bicep, and I'm also reducing the force because instead of ending the movement here, when I do it right, I'm ending a little bit higher on the movement. The last thing that does, of course, is it protects your back and your upper body and so on. So reset your upper body and then begin doing your movement. Um, Last thing, since we're talking on this video about stance, on squats, I know I've mentioned this before, squats on a normal stance, you're going to be about hip width or a little bit wider than hip width. So don't mistake what I'm saying for upper body movements as what you should be doing when you're doing lower body movements. This is to reduce your stability, your base of stability when you're doing the upper body training, to put more force on the muscles. When you squat, you're going to go a little bit wider. Deadlift is usually a hip width position, a standard deadlift. So just wanted to make sure you didn't mistake those two things. Hope that helps.